Hello, my name is Father Jim and I'm the rector here at the Malvern Retreat House. You know what, I'd like to share with you something of how we priests go on retreat or how we are retreated. You know, lots of times when priests go on retreat, we go to a retreat house or a retreat center and we have a person who comes in and kind of gives a lecture. It could be a 30 or 35 or a 40-minute lecture. And we have a series of these lectures or conferences over the course of the retreat, whether it's a one-day retreat or a two-day retreat or an extended retreat. That's one way of putting on a retreat. There's some limitations to that type of a conference approach to a retreat. What happens is sometimes it feels a little bit like a lecture. You feel like you're in an auditorium at a college or a university listening to somebody just kind of teaching you. Also, it encourages people to be kind of passive and just to sit back and listen. What we're going to be doing in our 2020 retreat year is moving away from just the conference approach to what we're calling a session. A session will be a little longer, could be an hour and 15 minutes even at times, but there's a lot of different activities that are happening throughout the session. There's a lot more involvement and engagement during the session. Sessions will always begin with maybe 5 or 10 minutes of kind of icebreakers or introductions or things like maybe meet one or two new people you've never met before. So we'll always have some icebreakers at the beginning of a session. The next part of the session will always deal with teaching. One of the ways that we Catholics learn is through the Word of God. So at each session there will always be an opportunity for a group of people to read a passage from the Bible together and kind of talk about it amongst themselves. Then the retreat director or the member of the Malvern Retreat House team will reflect on the theme or the topic of that session using the gospel passage that people just read in their small group. After a time of teaching or learning, we always want to spend some time in prayer during a session. Sometimes that little prayer session could be 2 or 3 minutes long, or maybe it could be a little bit longer. But we always want to spend some time in prayer. And then finally, a session ends with the retreat director or the Malvern Retreat House team member giving everybody something practical that they can do as a response to that session. We're calling it the action step. So there's going to be 4 different components to each session. A time to gather icebreakers, then a time of learning and teaching and reading the scriptures and sharing with each other about the scriptures. There'll always be some time for prayer, and then something practical people can do, an action step at the end of the session. So we think this is going to be a nice addition and something that's kind of exciting. Thanks very much.